Are you able to take your mask off, please?
No, I'm keeping it on.
I need to see under the mask.
You don't need to see under it.
I do, because what if you had something in there?
In trouble searching me without a section?
You're more than welcome to make a complaint.
I will be.
Welcome to Audit Assessor, where we examine police encounters through the lens of law accountability and public rights. In this incident, the Gwent auditor was filming outside the Canadian embassy when officers arrived and quickly treated him as a suspect, rather than a citizen exercising a lawful activity. Welcome to Audit Assessor, where we examine police encounters through the lens of law accountability and public rights. In this incident, the Gwent auditor was filming outside the Canadian embassy when officers arrived and quickly treated him as a suspect, rather than a citizen exercising a lawful activity. Instead of clearly explaining their legal authority, they moved straight into a search, raising serious questions about procedure and respect for individual rights. This breakdown in professional conduct is exactly why the encounter later became the subject of legal action.
What are you doing touching me? I understood. I've stayed on public.
Stop there, please.
Am I detained?
Okay. These officers, this security from the embassy.
Yeah, I'm still in public.
This guy has been observed filming the embassy.
Yeah.
So we need to consider a search of him as a terrorism act to make sure.
You do this, you know what's going on.
So
it's not a good idea. Could you identify yourself, please?
You can see my name here, Superintendent Corbyn.
Okay.
We've had a complaint from the Canadian embassy that you've been filmed photographing people coming in and out of the embassy.
I'm allowed to film in a public place.
The coronation is taking place tomorrow, and this is a particularly sensitive process.
I'm allowed to film in a public place.
Sorry?
I'm allowed to film in a public place.
You're not allowed to gather evidence or material that might be used to support terrorism planning. Do you understand that?
Well, do you have reasonable suspicion that I'm a terrorist?
Well, because these people have observed you...
Do you have reasonable suspicion that I'm a terrorist?
These people have observed you filming people going in and out to the main entrance to the Canadian embassy. And there's lots of sensitive people moving around the city at the moment. There's a heightened level of security and a heightened threat in the city. And when we see people filming around diplomatic premises, that gives us cause for concern. Do you understand that?
It could be concern, but there's no reasonable grounds to suspect that I am a terrorist.
Okay.
In this moment, the superintendent and his team physically engaged with TGA without any verbal explanation, which immediately raised concerns about how quickly the situation escalated, rather than first clarifying whether any detention was taking place or explaining the legal basis for their actions. The approach appeared to bypass standard policing communication and procedure, the immediate move toward a search without asking basic investigative questions gave the impression that fact-finding was not the priority. When questioned about reasonable suspicion, the justification leaned heavily on information from private security, which raised further doubts about the strength of the grounds being relied upon, as simply being present in a public space is not in itself a lawful reason for escalation.
Grounds you might be gathering information that might be used to plan a terrorist attack.
What reasonable grounds have you got?
Well, as I just explained to you, you've been observed by security at the embassy.
That's not reasonable grounds.
Filming people.
Somebody filming in a public place is not reasonable grounds to suspect someone's a terrorist.
Okay. Sarge, you got the information here?
Yeah, that's understood, yeah. Do you understand?
Yeah, so
Under Act, we've got sufficient grounds. It's not just filming a public place. It's almost it appears to them to be targeted.
It might appear to them, but that's not reasonable suspicion to be somebody who's a terrorist.
Grounds, yeah?
No, it's not reasonable grounds. That's all.
To search you, okay?
No,
so you're now detained for the purposes of a search.
Right, we're looking for things in relation to gathering evidence.
This is an unlawful search.
This is a lawful search under the Terrorism Act. My name is, PC Ashton, 3939 Alpha Whiskey. You are entitled to a copy of the search.
Have you not read the guidelines from the NPCC?
So basically, you're entitled to a copy of the search after it's complete. Frank, just before you ask for a search.
No.
It raises serious concerns about leadership when basic principles like the legality of public photography need to be explained during an encounter with a superintendent. Instead of clearly addressing the situation, the decision to consult internally suggested uncertainty rather than confident application of the law, and the supporting officer's stance reinforced questions about consistency and training within the team. The failure to clearly inform TGA that body-worn cameras were active also undermined expectations of transparency. Overall, the way the situation escalated, alongside resistance to referencing relevant policing guidance, created the impression that established standards were not being followed as they should have been.
Site. This is not an iconic site. It's not something that's on the tourist itinerary. It's a sensitive building, it's diplomatic premises. There's no reasonable excuse for you to be filming the premises because it's a diplomatic premises. It's not something tourists would normally do, which is why we have heightened suspicion around your activity, as my colleagues have explained.
Might not be something that you find interesting, that you would go and take photographs of,
but planning a terrorist attack would find it interesting, and to film the entrances, secure security arrangements around it.
As I've said,
why you're being searched.
Do you reasonably suspect that I am a terrorist?
No, we are searching you for any items that might be used for the commission or to plan a terrorism act. You understand that? You're not being arrested for an offence at the moment, you're being searched.
Which section of the terrorism act have you used? Which section?
You're more than welcome to look it up afterwards.
No, that's not how it works. It needs to be a section.
Under the terrorism act, we're allowed to search you in relation to gathering evidence. Sorry, if you just stay calm, we're allowed to search it. It's all because we're looking for things in relation to this, yeah?
So you're just searching me without a section, are you?
No, trust me.
Oh.
The superintendent's suggestion that unusual behavior could be linked to terrorism appears to rely on speculation rather than clearly articulated facts, particularly given the apparent lack of a stated specific suspicion. Suspicion in policing is expected to be grounded in objective information rather than assumptions about lawful activities, such as photographing buildings. Similarly, the officer directing TGA to look up the law raises concerns about communication standards, as underpace officers are generally expected to clearly explain the legal basis and grounds for any search or physical intervention at the time it is carried out.
Are you in trouble searching me without a section?
You're more than welcome to make a complaint.
I will be.
You can honestly look at the act afterwards if you want.
No, that's not how it works.
Just take your mask off, please.
No, I'm keeping it on.
I need to see under the mask.
You don't need to see under it.
I do, because what if you had something in there that could hurt me or you?
Right.
It's all for people's safety. I hope you understand we're doing this for people's safety.
No, I don't.
Then welcome to read all about the terrorism act, and you'll see. Nothing else
You haven't even given me a
on him.
It's all in there.
Yeah.
You won't be getting any details from me, Sergeant. I'm not required to give any details. I haven't broken the law.
Required to give details.
No, I'm not giving details.
But you know, like, it's one of the things under PACE, Code G, there is if we don't have name or identification, we can arrest you.
Arrest me for
And then,
what?
and then we just get for not giving name or an address.
I'm not required to.
No, you are under PACE
I'm not
Code G.
required to.
Okay.
You might want to look
Take
that
your
up.
hands off. Just keep your hands where I can see them, please. Honestly, just can I have your name, please, mate?
No.
Why not?
Are you actually going to arrest me?
I didn't say that's well, why can't, but you know under PACE
I'm not
Code G.
required to. I have my right to privacy. I don't need to give you my...
When the officer told TGA to file a complaint, it came across less as guidance and more as a dismissal of responsibility, suggesting the issue would be passed on for others to deal with rather than addressed properly in the moment. The request to remove the mask was presented as a safety concern, but appeared to be used as justification for removing anonymity without clearly established legal grounds, which raised questions about proportionality, the warning that refusal to provide details could lead to arrest was also seen as a coercive tactic to pressure compliance, rather than a clearly explained lawful requirement. In the wider context, this incident is being used to highlight concerns about public understanding of police powers, and it is also linked to the promotion of a platform called Underwhat, which claims to provide interactive legal guides, decision-based learning tools, policing updates, and complaint and reporting resources aimed at helping users understand legal processes and police procedures more clearly.
So you're wrong.
Why would you not want
you might
to,
want to check that because you're wrong there.
Why would you not want to give us?
Because I'm not required to give you my details.
No, but regardless of what, like, why do you not want to though? Realistically, you've been stopped by
Because I'm a
police.
private person, I'm not required to give you my details.
But if you're a private person, why do you think it's okay to go around filming everyone?
Because I want to. I have a right to do
You're
so.
not giving name and details.
What's this? It doesn't have to.
There we go. See?
It's within his right to.
Thank you, Sergeant. Could you remind your colleague, because he said he could arrest me if he didn't get my name and address. Yes, you
I
did.
said
It's on
one of the
camera.
things on
It's
PACE
camera.
Code G is if there's no name and identification, that's something that we can look to use later down the line.
Yeah, if you can cause like social behaviour or anything. But at this stage, I'm happy that there's nothing.
Am I okay to take? Am I still detained? Am I okay to take my property
No, you're
back?
not detained anymore. Thank you.
Okay.
I hope you.
Okay, thank you very much.
No worries. Take care.
The screenshot is presented as showing that the Gwent auditor received a payout in relation to this incident, which is being interpreted as confirmation that the outcome of the case was not in the police's favor. It is argued that this suggests the conduct in question could not be robustly defended and led to a formal resolution outside of court. In the final stage of the encounter, a junior officer continued requesting personal details until a sergeant intervened and the approach was de-escalated, with the paperwork being put away once supervision stepped in. This change in tone is presented as highlighting inconsistency in how the situation was handled at ground level. Overall, the auditor frames the incident as a broader example of disputed policing practice involving questions around suspicion thresholds, use of powers, and proportionality during public space interactions with photographers.